All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're hopping back into it in our first semifinals match. Give it up over here in the top right-hand corner of the map for the green Terran player from Europe. It's 3:40 in the morning for him, but he is still alive and kicking. Give it up for Beastyqt.
Hey, and on the other side, he is actually alive. That's his intro. So, our blue Terran player from the Afrika Freaks, still rocking that EG tag.
Yep. And my joke was going to be that he was alive and kicking, or rather, he's kicking alive. But I was going to save that joke for game number 2, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to forget it by that time. If he wins game number 1, that's what I was going to say.
Beaten alive too, which is going to be kind of an uphill battle for him, but I still think that Beastyqt is a very, very solid player.
Absolutely.
Europeans, most solid Terrans, been around for such a long time. Dabbled a bit in Starbow, but seems to get, a little bit more recognition here in Legacy of the Void.
Absolutely. But we have very, very similar, completely mirrored builds so far. A slightly later Reaper for aLive and everything, but for the most part, everything looking pretty much exactly the same coming out of both of these guys. Kind of actually interesting. I feel like it's one of those really, really small, subtle things that's not going to play a huge, huge impact or anything. But just the fact that Beastyqt just seems like slightly ahead in the build, where his Reaper is just 4 or 5 seconds earlier than aLive's, but everything else seems to be equal. It just seems like that small, hey, you know what? With those openings, Beastyqt was just slightly more optimal.
Yeah, maybe that is the latency between the two.
Maybe
like that little difference in the build. But he also gets the kill on that SEV at the same time, so that's gonna actually put him ahead here.
Yeah,
even if it is ever so slightly.
Yeah, now we do have starports straight tech up to starport coming down for both these players. Still completely mirrored in their builds. So very typical Terran builds coming out for both of these guys. And in the cross spawn position, it does mean that reinforcements are actually going to take some time to make their way all the way across the map. And that does make it a little bit easier to be on the defender's side of things. But if they're engaging on the center of the map, there's not going to be a defender so much on any of this.
Yeah, and a really good part about the cross position is that neither of them are going to have that advantage of having the better drop path or anything like that, the safer third to take. So we're going to see basically these two Tyrants go at each other with pretty much an even playing field. Yeah. So but it'll be kind of a test here for Beastyqt to see, can he make it happen? I do put him as not the favorite here, but definitely capable of it.
Yeah, I'm
already
already
super tired.
I'm already just liking how Beastyqt has been playing so far, though. Like, it's that small little thing, like having the Reaper out 5 seconds earlier, getting this slight micro advantage versus the exact same composition in the center of the map. And we do start to see slight deviations as the Tech Lab coming down over here for Beastyqt on the factory a little bit later than I think it did for aLive. aLive getting out the Raven, but here we go. Beastyqt moving up the ramp, getting a lot of damage done over here, and forcing out the auto turret over the front, but guess what? That leaves the mineral line completely exposed.
Yep, and all of those SCVs are lining up, going for the safer build, did aLive, but it's not in time. Ooh. The Cyclone is barely just about to come out, but this is great. Mining Time Monster gonna stack up. That Hellion did hit the supply depot. Instead, they'll go for the workers, man. You can do it.
He has so many opportunities. Oh, but they're stacking up on that refinery right now, and just one shot. No, he's going after the Cyclones. Still getting 10 workers, though, is a huge, huge deal right now for Beastyqt. Even landing his Viking over here to get a couple final pickoffs.
Wow, really sick trade there from Beastyqt. He was able to take out, how many workers was it? 11 in total.
Yeah.
So 10 in that attack. But, yo, that's a great way to start this out. Beastyqt, very solid macro player, too, so he should be able to follow this up in a really nice way, I would say.
And this is where cross spawn positions is also going to work out very well for Beastyqt, because he does all that damage. And now, normally you'd be like, okay, well, you just lost all your units, and there's this very, very slight lead on units, I think, or, at least in the production cycles for aLive. But at the same time, Beastyqt is going to have the defender's advantage. So by the time aLive actually makes his way across the map, that next round of production will already be out for Beastyqt. He will be fine to defend.
Yeah. So it will be the economic advantage. The orbital command is already done here for aLive. He's going to land it down and looking to go into Thought it was gonna be like some weird late cloak banshee, but he lifted it up from the tech lab,
Mhm.
and he's just gonna start making most likely. I
Ooh.
don't know. I've seen Vikings come out earlier nowadays, but
Oh boy, this engagement at the center though, it goes in Beastyqt's favor. He takes out not only the Viking, but he also takes out the Raven. And once again, Beastyqt is just winning in all of these small little things. The opening build orders, the early game micro, the mid game aggression, the mid game micro in the center of the map. And just once again, Beastyqt is kind of surprisingly showing a bit of dominance.
yeah, he needs to keep it going though. You know, if you let aLive get into his stride, he will start to pick you apart. So the fact that he's double dropping and it looks to go into the main, he's gonna meet the Vikings, but he might get lucky here. No, he's not.
Ooh.
He's already used the boost. One of those medevacs are gonna get targeted down.
Oh,
there is enough Marines here to take out the Vikings, but is it gonna be the actual case here?
He might elevator up into the main base. That looks like it was exactly what he's going to do. He's going to elevator up the Marines. Does take a siege tank shot over here as aLive is prepared for this. But, you know, these siege tanks siege up in a nice position. This kind of reminds me of some of those old TvT maps where the siege tanks are in range of the production. If he takes out the factory, that would actually be a huge win for Beastyqt.
Oh yeah, getting on the production, stopping the production of the siege tanks, allowing Beastyqt to potentially get
He's
ahead
focus firing down the factory. He's not going to be able to get it though. He's going to have to back out as the siege tanks are starting to go down. One of them goes down, pull some SCVs off to repair it. aLive going to get the better end of that situation. I want to note one really small thing is that a lot of this time in the production tab, if you guys have been paying attention, aLive has been making 2 workers at a time. Beastyqt has been making 1, sometimes 2 workers at a time. And because of that, Beastyqt is not as far ahead on the work count as he could be.
As he could be, indeed, yeah. So that was the first engagement for Beastyqt that didn't really go his way. He didn't end up getting the factory. He lost his first 2 medevacs, and that was a really good call by aLive to make the Vikings first.
Yeah. Gonna be able to deny a refinery over here as well with these 2 siege tanks on the low ground. And aLive is gonna catch Beastyqt very far out of position as he's moving across the center of the map right now. And is not even actually moving anything in place to deal with this. He does have a couple of reinforcing units popping out right now that might be able to help deal with this, but he's actually starting to lose a decent chunk of workers now.
Yeah, the workers are just getting taken out by these tanks and not able to even get much more than a scratch on those medevacs.
Wow.
Oh, aLive is starting to do some moves here. He's pulled ahead in workers, and yeah, despite that opener, this is what I'm talking about. Let aLive get aggressive on you, and things are going to start to get pretty ugly, so.
Right now, Beastyqt trying to find this medevac, trying to pick off one of the medevacs he already picked off with the siege tank, picks off the other one. That's a nice win over there for Beastyqt.
Really nice win. Getting those medevacs in the tank is kind of payback for what happened earlier with this push. So he's still ahead in supply. His army value is so good. He's been keeping up with his upgrades, it looks like. He already has +1, Beastyqt that is. And he's also going to be going for the +1 armor. So even though he started his earlier, he's working off of 1 eBay, it looks like. While aLive maybe was working off of 2.
Yep. I want to give a really quick shout out to Mubuntu for subscribing 2 months in a row. Thank you so much, Mubuntu, as I believe you are one of the people that subscribed during the crazy subscriber day for BaseTradeTV. But yeah, thank you for subscribing. And here we go. Beastyqt charging up the ramp. He's moving those siege tanks in very, very aggressively, actually ahead of the rest of his army. And these siege tanks may be able to get some good damage done. Beastyqt has the superior army and he's charging on forward.
Yep, and he gets so many workers killed, he can drop on top of the tanks, but he's not going to do it. He's just going to go and protect the siege tank in the back. aLive is starting to move on. He's microing pretty well here, but he is under siege. He doesn't have the units to actually contest it just yet.
Yeah, but he has the reinforcements coming in behind this.
The reinforcements.
Oh, this
are coming in.
This might actually start to work out a little bit better for Beastyqt over here as he's continuing to wail away over here. aLive is having a bit of trouble trying to push this back, trying to repel this back. He does have a 3rd expansion down behind this, which quite frankly, Beastyqt does not, but here we go. Marines charging on in. aLive wants to break this contain, and he might have enough to do it.
Oh, wow, he's going to go and get the next tank at the front. He's going for the medevacs, though, but he does end up doing it. He holds. And now he has his combat shields done. His +1/+1 is complete. And what a hold. He lost a lot of SCVs, but he did managed to just survive.
Yeah, gotta be careful with those units though, because he's still sitting at a worker disadvantage, but the big thing is hold this aggression, because Beastyqt is kind of in an all-in state where he doesn't have a third command center behind this, and it doesn't look like he's playing to get one. He's just continuing to rally across the map. He may finally start to get one now, as he does have enough minerals for it, but this is still a moment where Beastyqt has to make the decision. Do you just try and transition out from here, or do you continue the aggression and just try to reproduce all those units that you're losing?
Yeah, that's a very difficult decision to make here, because he felt like he was on the brink of victory, but aLive still able to get to third base. I didn't even realize that. That is pretty crazy that he was able to hold while getting that third, and that will propel him so far ahead here.
Ooh.
If Beastyqt is not able to win it out.
Liberator gonna be a little bit too aggressively sieged up over there. Both of the Liberators end up going down, but does pull back one of those siege tanks. No, not gonna be enough though. Single siege tank on the low ground for Beastyqt. Gonna be able to at least whittle away at one of these refineries, but I mean, Beastyqt is having a lot of trouble breaking through this entrenchment.
Yeah, I don't believe he's confirmed the third of aLive, and it's not even like aLive is positioned in a way that would suggest that he has the third base there in the first place. So it's like maybe he feels like he's kind of got this on equal ground, but he's starting to fall behind. The army values are equal, and here goes the engagement. Equal upgrades. Can Beastyqt do it? And will aLive hold here? And it looks like aLive is going to be able to indeed clean it up. GG. Game number 1 goes to aLive. Wow.
Coming back from a seemingly potentially down and out situation, aLive takes game number 1 in the first semifinals of the Chairs4Gaming Cup. And wow, I'm just actually really impressed with aLive, because again, it's like you were saying, it seemed a lot like Beastyqt was in a really good position, but his TvT is so good. aLive's TvT is on point.
Yeah, keeping up with his macro. You mentioned it, where Beastyqt kind of fell behind in the macro, and that's basically where the difference did lie. If he's continuing to produce those SCVs, then he has enough minerals to take the third base in the first place.
Yep. But,
so he was just like, uh-oh, that didn't work. Let's try it again, and it didn't work.
Yeah, it really kind of weirded me out. Like that, I think it really, to me, came back down to that siege tank harassment that aLive was able to do, where he managed to actually take the worker, like a pretty substantial worker lead. I want to say like 8 or so workers just with that siege tank harassment. And also the fact that Beastyqt, during a lot of that aggression, wasn't continuously making workers, whereas aLive was. So aLive just kind of inched out this sort of lead that I think allowed him to like pull forward in that production.
Yeah. And the solid holds too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like the early game micro and everything didn't quite go aLive's way, but that the mid game pressure and everything, and the siege tank position with the Marines, that definitely was going a lot better for aLive than Beastyqt.
Well, here we go. Fear Dragon. We're jumping into game number 2. It will be on Dusk Towers for the second map.
Yep. Dusk Towers are second map, and I think we are not going to commercial break, so we finally can play one of those map intros that I've been skipping over and over and over again, because I'm just like, all right, well,
I know.
I could play the map intro, but we'll start the game at the 4-minute mark then. Yeah. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're hopping into it. Dusk Towers for game number 2. Can Beastyqt bring it back, or will aLive close it out with a 2-0 victory? Stay tuned. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're hopping back into it. Game number 2 in this best of 3 semifinals. Of course, the loser is going to walk away with $10. The winner gets a shot at $60. Spine down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have the pink Terran player. Give it up for the European Beastyqt. Now sitting at 3:58 a.m.
Damn. And his opponent taking it after almost being so far behind that it almost seemed impossible to come back. It is aLive. And would like to remind you guys that you are tuned into the Chairs4Gaming Cup. This will be what, the final one for a while?
So it's not necessarily. So it's. I think I actually did not do a good job explaining this to you, Tempo. So I don't blame you for saying that.
Okay.
This is not going to be the final one for a while. We actually are going to be seeing more Chairs4Gaming Cups in the near future. We already schedule all the dates and everything for April, but they're going to be happening at a different time than right now. In the future, we're going to be seeing those Chairs4Gaming Cups happening a lot more on like Saturdays around 10 a.m. It's going to be happening right after the Alima League. And the reason for this is signups, as well as actually just viewership, is a little bit lower than the BaseTradeTV standard. So we're gonna try and move it around, see if things will we can rearrange things and everything. And of course, that also I think works out a little bit better for players who are more often than not more free on the weekends rather than weekdays.
Gotcha. That sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, part of the reason for that also was kind of like, hey, you know what? A lot of the time, like we kind of tried to schedule it late enough that West Coasters and everything and like East Coasters would all be done with work and school by the time the cup started. But if it's on the weekend, that also means like, hey, we get to see more people like Beastyqt because it's like at a European friendly time and a North American friendly time.
Yeah, and on the weekend too, so it's like, hey, I can dig it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
here we go.
We should talk a bit about the openings right now because we did see, you know, the Reaper harassment coming in over here. Only at one scouting SCV dying for Beastyqt so far. But we did have the double Reaper opening coming out from Beastyqt, getting a better scout off than aLive, who is basically sitting completely in the dark right now. Even trying to go for a aggressive Marine push out across the map.
Wow, he's holding it here at the moment. Just chilling out. The Reapers are going to get in. And, if they're not careful, they might be taken out by these two Reapers.
Yeah, really nice micro over here from Beastyqt. I just feel like we're starting to see Beastyqt really show a lot of dominance in the early game, but it's that mid game that I'm worried about. Look at how much damage these Reapers are doing. Canceling the command center, or at least delaying it for a little bit, taking out these Marines, and also not taking damage for so long that they're now starting to regenerate that health. There's no Marines left over right now for aLive.
No,
he's actually still building.
Here.
Oh my god, the reactor just finished up, and he's not even going to be making Marines fast enough to deal with these Reapers. The Hellion's going to have to come out to deal with this.
Oh, luckily the Hellion does come out right in time, but aLive has been set back while Beastyqt's third base has completed. He is going to be able to get that early game lead once again. Now let's see if he's able to hold on to it.
Yeah,
it's kind of similar to what happened last game, but not as substantial damage. But a much better follow-up. Yeah, it's going to get him so much further ahead economically.
Yeah, third expansion finishing up earlier for Beastyqt than aLive. Not necessarily because he took it substantially earlier, but because he canceled the building of that third command center for such a long time. And aLive was, of course, busy trying to micro his heart out around trying to deal with those units, the Reapers, with only just SCVs and like a Hellion or Marine that were going to be popping out. But we do also have a tech lab that finished up on that starport for Beastyqt. So he is actually going to be opening up with a medevac?
Okay. I
That's
guess
interesting.
Perhaps he's trying to sell it if there were to be a scan. aLive did not decide to scan yet, and you know what? He still has not decided to scout, period.
Oh, wait a second. I think that tech lab is not for the starport. It's actually building that tech lab for the factory, because he's plopping down more factories. He's going up to 3 factories. This is a mech build.
Whoa, okay. Well, very, very different style coming out of Beastyqt, but hey, what better map to try it on than here? I would say. Pretty nice map.
Single Hellion over here for aLive. Gonna be able to kill a couple of these workers over here. Beastyqt gonna be able to walk out with a couple of Hellions of his own, clean that guy up, but he pokes it in at the front, sees that the third expansion is not actually mining just yet, and gonna back off.
He actually went home with the medevac. He was deciding whether he wanted to do a drop with it, but said maybe not.
Yeah.
He's shown a lot of Hellions, by the way. So even though aLive hasn't been able to scout, he can maybe think in his head that either this guy is 4GG or, yeah, he may be indeed be working off of a few more factories here.
Absolutely. We do have tech labs finishing up, although for aLive and getting up that stim, going to be getting up combat shields on this tech lab. And of course, just preparing. And I even like the fact that he leaves those Marines in his mineral line because he's preparing for maybe a Liberator or something to come out, which is definitely a potential when you're up against a meching player who doesn't really need to make medevacs to actually, you know, heal up bio units because he's got Hellions that they don't need medevacs.
Yeah. I'm wondering how mech does play out nowadays, though, because traditionally, of course, you're going to be going for the air dominance with the Vikings, but with the addition of the siege tanks, right, able to be lifted up, it almost feels like making medevacs in mech is actually standard. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
you're right, and
kind of weird, but yeah.
that's what we're seeing actually. So I'm eating my words almost immediately as the first two medevacs are, or should I say second and third medevacs are going to be popping out for Beastyqt. And he goes through a push across the map. The Cyclone going to be catching a lot of these Hellions, or I mean the Hellions are going to be catching the Cyclone, but he catches vision of them.
Yeah, he knows that's a lot of Hellions too. Like that's not normal, you know. That's an unhealthy amount of Hellions. You know, you might if you don't take enough vitamin C, you just might fall sick if you're not too careful.
Yeah, but there's not a whole lot back at home for aLive to actually defend right now. He's going to have to make sure those units are very well split up. He's not taking too much splash damage. The Hellbats are being made right now. And actually, we were actually both getting it wrong over here. It's not about the medevacs lifting up those siege tanks. It's about those Hellbat drops that we used to see back in Heart of the Swarm.
Yep, Viking is going to take out that medevac that did have a siege tank in it, but that siege tank is going to drop on the spot that there's not. Here comes the army of Beastyqt just pushing on forward. He is forcing aLive back up into his main, but he's not going to push the issue. He just wants to go for the third base.
Oh, I love this. And even loads up 2 more Hellbats going over to the main base in the natural expansion. Oh, they are going to get roasted right now. And at the same time,
wash, baby.
Same time, Hellbat in the main base is the medevac actually should die. Okay, well, aLive busy trying to deal with the units over at the front right now, so not really able to focus his attention on picking off that medevac, but we do see Beastyqt taking a really nice lead in this game so far.
Yeah, but he did throw away his Vikings for free. He is going to be able to drop the Hellbats. That siege tank is still alive in the back, but aLive is looking like with some pretty decent micro stutter stepping as well as some siege tank dropping, he's going to be able to actually clean it up, and I think he preserved the third.
Yeah, but oh man, another Hellbat comes in over here. 6 kills on this Hellbat. Going to be able to get one final shot off on some of this bio. And that's the thing, is that he hasn't just been killing the worker count for aLive. He's also been killing a lot of the units. So it's going to be very difficult for aLive to put on the counter pressure. He's actually had a single Liberator, I think, was sitting around somewhere. I guess it did end up going in, but it got picked off. I don't think too much damage was done. 34 workers killed. Wait a second. Maybe a lot of damage was done.
Holy moly,
wait.
yeah.
Oh, okay. 11 workers killed by aLive. Never mind. I was misreading that.
Oh, I thought you were talking about for Beastyqt with it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for aLive, he wasn't really able to do too much right back at Beasty. Excuse me, but I like that Beastyqt didn't get too caught up in that. He did end up dropping the 4th command center, and the one thing that look at this armor upgrade, or the armory upgrades. That's the one thing that I would criticize. He was going for a big push that perhaps he forgot about this. You know, dropping double armory is usually because you want to get those upgrades, not only for the Hellbats. Say you drop 1.
Yeah, absolutely. But here we end up seeing push-in number 2. And this is a pretty scary push-in. Again, I want to remind you guys, 70 workers to 50 right now. Beastyqt has a great economy behind this. If you can even deny the 3rd expansion from mining for a little bit, this is going to be a big win for Beastyqt. He's taking a pretty good engagement as well. And wow, we might end up seeing Beastyqt tying up the series 1-1 potentially. There we go.
Does it? GG.
Beastyqt.
Ooh. Bust out the mech.
Seriously, I am really impressed right now.
Me too. That was actually really impressive. I'm never really sure how mech goes in TvT. And it stayed in Legacy of the Void. But the very aggressive pushes, I think, yeah, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah. But we are going to be hopping to a short break before we hop into that ace match. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not go anywhere. You guys are watching the Chairs4Gaming Cup number 4. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're hopping back into it as we are going to be spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map on top of the pink Terran player. Give it up for the European Beastyqt.
And his opponent, hailing from Korea, the blue Terran player, it is aLive.
Oh boy, so after that last game, tempo that was like, I was telling you this, I feel like that meching style wasn't what I traditionally see out of a lot of Terran players when I think of mech in Legacy of the Void. It was what I think of meching players when I think about Heart of the Swarm, where you're getting up that, oh, okay, well, we do have a 2-Rex opening over here for Beastyqt, so maybe I should stop talking about mech, because I don't know if we're going to see mech this game tempo.
No, it is going to be indeed 2 barracks for the Reapers. I wonder if he will add a 3rd one. Since he didn't take the gas just yet, I think he's going to go into a command center after it. So it does look like an aggressive opener, but not completely committed to it.
Yeah, and we see aLive just going straight for a fast tech up to the factory. Now, he did move in with that early SCV scout, got a vision of the 2nd barracks, and oh, Beastyqt killing off the Reaper of aLive. That is a pretty big deal right now, because that really does mean that this Reaper, with the regenerated health, should be able to contest this singular Marine that sits at the top of the ramp.
Yeah, we saw what happened last time to the group of Marines, and it's going to get followed up by even more Reapers. So aLive doesn't know about that just yet.
Oh, aLive, I think he's aware of this. Yeah, because he's already pulled these SCVs over here. He's going to be able to kill one of them off. Reaper grenades going off and doing a lot of damage to these Marines.
Yep. And I don't think he realized it was going to be 2 Reapers, but luckily he did account for the fact that it could be. Oh, he loses one of the Reapers there.
Yep.
This is going to start to get out of control if it continues. And
oh, man. Well, the Hellions going to pop out. This is going to be a similar situation to last time, except this time, instead of canceling the 3rd commander, he's going to cancel the starport from being built, but immediately SCV back on that. The Reaper is going to get chased down. Another Reaper comes on in and should be able to kill off one of these Hellions, maybe. No,
can he
not
get
quite.
It? Oh, so close.
Yeah. Hellion a little bit too fast on the retreat. Going to be repaired back up, too. I think that's a smart decision.
I would say so, yeah. That's basically one of the most crucial parts of these defense.
Oh, killing off another Marine over there. Hellion's going for the chase, but Reaper should be able to get out of there okay.
All right. So now aLive kind of getting hip to how Beastyqt likes to play. Doesn't lose too much there, and Beastyqt is a little bit behind in supply here, but it's mainly an army supply. So these Hellions, if they can get up the ramp, they're going to do, I'd say, you know, a decent job, because Beastyqt doesn't really have anything at home. But I just don't see them actually able to, unless Beastyqt would slip up.
Yeah. But we have Hellions moving across the map over here for aLive, and we also have the Liberator coming out. So aLive is really looking to be aggressive. The Reaper comes back in, gets a confirmed scout off on what the tech labs are on, what the reactors are on, sees the tech lab on the factory, sees the starport completely by itself. But here we go, Hellions moving at the front. They're not going to be able to do almost anything over here, except for slowly whittle away at that wall. And while the Reapers actually managed to get a 1 or 2 more worker kills.
Yep, this could be a diversion though, because there is a Liberator on the other side going into the main. And those Marines are so focused on the Hellions that, hey, look at this. It looks like a nice sieging. Going to be so hard to actually punish that. I don't know if he has an answer. He has a Viking on the way, but...
Yeah, this is going to deny quite a bit of mining over here. And actually killing off 3-4 workers does put aLive in a very slight worker lead. Oh, Marines find a nice little edge over here, and they are going to be able to take out that Liberator.
Yep. Apparently one of the SCV's phones went off there, and had to shut it off really quickly, but gotta work, man. You gotta keep on working. No time for no breaks.
But big difference between the two players is that Beastyqt has a 3rd orbital command finished up making SCVs right now, and he's making 3 at a time. As long as he keeps up with that 3 at a time production, he's gonna have a really nice edge over aLive, who's sitting on 2 orbital commands, sitting on a pretty decent amount of production and everything, who I think is really looking to get heavily aggressive in the mid game. Yeah,
I mean, just forcing off of the mining, trying to do these little things to get further and further ahead should be pretty good for him. And we haven't really seen aLive doing like the crazy aggression that I at least would know him for, but a lot of the times he's been defending against like Beastyqt's own aggression, right?
Yeah.
Kind of interesting to note.
Well, we do see a scan going down over here. Scan goes down over here for Beastyqt. He scouts out that 3rd expansion just now going down, so he knows how far ahead he is on that economy, but is going to have to deal with that drop harassment that's coming across the map.
Yeah, and with these Marines out on the map, the siege tanks are at the 3rd. This double drop should be able to do something nice unless, Beastyqt's moving his Marines over to the 3rd, it looks like. But that could be the reason why, yeah.
Oh, stim coming down on a lot of these Marines, trying to go out to these medevacs, not quite able to get it. All of them get out of there, and those medevacs are going to have to heal up these Marines saying, what were you guys doing?
What was you thinking?
Now I got to heal you guys up.
It's like, oh, really nice pressure here out of aLive, but Beastyqt seems to be holding it down pretty well.
Yeah, saves the mule,
I think
too.
this is really solid defense.
Beastyqt is looking pretty good this game. 3rd expansion now finished up for aLive. Still got to make it into an orbital command.
The natural of aLive, or rather the natural of Beastyqt has been evacuated. And the medevac almost was able to deal with that.
Yeah, that was actually, I almost kind of feel like he could have stuck around over there and gotten some more damage done. Maybe even picked off that siege tank if you really tried to focus fire on it. But as you were saying, I think the medevac was starting to get a little bit low on health. Wanted to make sure he didn't lose that.
Yeah, just being a bit safe, right? Poking left and right. And it is the 3rd game of a best. No, drop that. It is the 3rd game of a best of 3.
Yep.
And,
but
you know,
there's just a lot more aggression coming out from aLive over Beastyqt. Beastyqt is always on the defensive over here. Even the 2 Marines coming back in over here, canceling this missile turret from being built, killing off more workers. We have the double drop coming in on the bottom side of this sensor tower. We're going to take a couple shots from the missile turret, but this is already looking actually pretty good for aLive as he's continuing to put on this harassment, and Beastyqt is out of position for this once again.
Yeah, this is the aLive that I know and love, getting these drops in where he can get them. You saw him skirt on the really outskirts of that other sensor tower. And now he's just getting so many SCV kills while Beastyqt is just kind of taking it. He will clean it up, though.
Yep. A good cleanup over there, but ends up losing one of those engineering bays. He does manage to finish +1 missile attacks, or no, sorry. +1 attack. I guess it's just +1 attack with a Terran, not a Zerg player.
Rocket launches.
Yeah, man. But I think +1 armor ended up getting killed off of that. A 2nd engineering base. So that is a really good pickoff for aLive, being able to equalize the upgrades. And soon he's going to be on an upgrade lead with +1 armor finishing up and +2 weapons on the way.
Yep. Really awesome to be able to target down those upgrades in this matchup, because they do kind of run the show for the most part. Those Marines, when they're able to get those concaves, and on a map like Orbital Shipyard, it's so much easier to get that. So I think they're even more important. But Beastyqt's had enough. He's going to try to go get a bit more aggressive here. And he makes something happen here, Dragon. This could be his life on the line.
Whoa, pushing back those siege tanks. aLive is doing a pretty good job so far, but Beastyqt is not done just yet. Or maybe he is. Maybe he's stimming his way all the way back home. What? Did he see something over there? Did he like see a medevac?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he had his whole army hotkeyed and he ended up stimming to deal with this medevac, but
yeah, I think he is, because he's stimmed his entire army multiple times just to try and get back home to deal with this single medevac of aggression.
Oh my, yeah, that's a big deal. And I think this drop is just going to be there to be annoying, you know, go back and forth. Every once in a while, when Beastyqt pushes out, he'll just, you know, drop in. You might even see a turret go down there just to kind of deter it. But
that was a pretty big deal. Pulling back the entire army over there, you have to remember, Beastyqt losing a couple workers over there is now also sitting down in workers, about 10, sitting down in upgrades by almost a whopping 3 upgrades right now.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Like, it's really starting to come back to him. Using those engineering bays. Yep. And that's a better quality army at the same time. Even has the the attack upgrade here for the siege tanks. Working on +2. This is sick for aLive. It's just Beastyqt. Can he actually do something about it?
Things are definitely starting to spiral a little bit out of control over here.
There by accident. In the natural, it's blocking some mining, but
oh yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe it's just that safety engineering bit.
All right.
Safely protected by the mineral line.
Yeah, the minerals will never ever.
Here we go. Oh my god, those siege tanks absolutely massacring a lot of the Marines over here for Beastyqt. aLive taking a couple losses himself as he engages up against the cliff over here, but aLive is the one that still gets to be a bit aggressive and start to push on into that mineral line.
Yep, and that was actually a big deal. He's attacking up the ramp though, so has to be a bit more careful. He has the higher worker count. However, he's only just now, I think, about to finish his command center to take the 4th.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's mining from a 4th while he does all of this. He's kind of just using his army lead to try and bully Beastyqt out of the game. But Beastyqt is resilient and he's holding on strong, even though he did lose a lot of those Marines in that engagement.
Indeed. Both of these players going to back on out as neither of them really want to go for that direct engagement, although Beastyqt may be feeling a little bit better about it. Still sitting it down a little bit in army supply, though, so if he charges across the map, he's going to be at a Marine disadvantage, as well as even a couple of medevacs, but, you know, medevacs, as long as there's one for every siege tank, it's okay. Oh, although there's one medevac that's sitting over here with 3 health. Oh, boy. And a siege tank.
Very, very... ballsy move there. You know, Beastyqt could drop it and then pick it up with another one, but not gonna choose to do so. So we'll hope that that doesn't bite him.
Oh, but drop in the natural expansion and drop in the main base. Gonna be able to clean up a lot of these workers. We're down to 36 workers. Beastyqt trying to pull all the way back home, but I don't even know if he really.
He's indecisive.
I mean, if he pulls all the way back, no, he's trying to go back for the attack. He realizes if he pulls all the way back home, he's just gonna lose out in so much. But at the same time, I feel like he's already lost his opportunity. He's already lost his chance.
Way too much time. And you look at this, aLive even getting a bit more aggressive. He's gonna go in, okay, just go back off. He doesn't actually have to engage it, but he's making sure that Beastyqt never gets a solid position on him. The damage being done in the main is almost game ending because it's the production here, Fear Dragon. There's nothing able to actually contest it. This might be checkmate.
Target firing down those reactors and some of those barracks, just halting as much production as possible, taking out the sensor tower. GG gets called, and aLive gonna be taking the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals.
Well played by both players. We saw aLive pretty much hit his full stride in that game, and that last final drop was pretty much the checkmate move. That just let I think Beastyqt was a deer in the headlights, you know? He was moving across the map like, okay, I'm going to attack. And then he saw that happen and kind of just froze. Did not know what to do, and he wasted a bit too much time, and aLive was able to get enough at home.
Yeah.
6 series, though.
I think it definitely just went to show, you know, aLive in the late game was just looking stronger. I feel like it's hard to really contest that. Just because whenever it went to the mid to late game stages, aLive just looked stronger and stronger and stronger. Would always have, you know, not be missing some of those worker production cycles. Would have slightly better siege tank marine positioning. You know, be able to get better pickoffs and everything. But ladies and gentlemen, I will be saying we are going to hop to a short little break as we find out where the other semifinals is sitting. As I believe Cham
took it. Cham took it over Slayer's Boner.
So while those 2 players finish up the videos, we're going to be hopping to a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are watching the Chairs4Gaming North American Cup. Of course, if you guys want to check out during the commercial break, you want to check out the Chairs4Gaming website, you guys can get one of these beautiful, beautiful DX Racer chairs that both Tempo and I are sitting in. I know Rifkin and ZombieGuard are also huge fans of the DX Racers. And of course, if you use the promo code BaseTradeTV, you'll be able to get $20 off on your DX Racer, as well as free shipping and handling, which oftentimes ends up being somewhere between $20 to $60. So you can still save quite a bit of money by using that promo code. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys in a little bit.